Welcome to the race day preview sponsored by Arena for the Santa Clara Grand Prix. Now, this is the final stop in the 6-meet series. I'm Tiffany Elias, joined by Jeff Commings. Now, Jeff, this is going to be a very exciting meet because it's the last major meet till the Summer Nationals in August, where we know the swimmers are qualifying for the Pan Pacific Championships, the 2015 World Champs. Most swimmers are here. We're missing a few notable ones, Ryan Lochte, Katie Ledecky, but internationally speaking, also Katinka's not going to be swimming and a few others. This meet tends to be one of the biggest of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's definitely big. One, because it's in California, which is one of the more popular swimming states, but it's also because it's the last big domestic meet before nationals. Everybody wants to go and get some racing in because they go back, they get a little more training in, and then taper starts.
Okay, speaking of those that aren't here, as we know, Ryan Lochte has re-injured his knee. At this point in time, being about a month out from nationals, how are you feeling? What are your concerns since you've been following, obviously, his progress closer than most people?
Well, I've been kind of following his progress through photos, and I've been seeing that he isn't wearing the knee brace anymore, so that's a good sign. I think probably, I don't think he's going to swim the IM. I think breaststroke might be out of the equation until 2012. He's going to need a lot of time to get that knee stronger enough to do breaststroke. But backstroke's still in the picture, freestyle still in the picture, that 100 fly still in the picture. So anything's possible. We just won't know until we get to Irvine.
Right, and he's clearly just not wanting to push it.
Right.
All right, well, the Santa Clara Grand Prix is a 4-day meet instead of 3, which allows us to spread those events out. This means Thursday is distance only, and there's a couple swimmers that are coming straight off the U.S. Open Water Nationals, Becca Mann being one of those swimmers, and as many know, she won the 10K. Now, she's going to go head-to-head with Brittany McLean, the Georgia Bulldog, who dominated the 1500 at NCAAs. Katie Ledecky won't be in the mix. But I want to talk about Becca Mann because we've seen for a while she's been consistent with top 8 finishes. It was great to see her get the top in the open water, but how do you think that's going to translate come nationals and those distance pool events for her?
Well, she'll be, if she does really well in Irvine, she'll be the first person to do open water and pool events in a senior level competition, and that'll be very interesting in terms of training because training for a 10K is not even training for 800. So, I would imagine her philosophy is going to be different, but I'm sure she's just excited to get back into the pool racing. She's got a lot of confidence now, knowing that she's on the Pan Pac team, so the weight's off of her, so now all she has to do is, I think the race is always going to be for second behind Katie Ledecky in the United States, but just to see what she could do in that 800 free, maybe even the 400 free, 400 IM. So she's going to be one that is going to be, everybody's going to be watching her just to see how she comes off that 10K.
I agree. And on the men's side, we have quite the mix. Michael McBroom, Connor Yeager, Ryan Cochran, Usmaluli, just a few that are going to be in that pack. Let's talk about distance in general. Do you think these swimmers need to make a statement at the Santa Clara meet? Is this going to be any indication of where they'll be at in a month and a half? Because we know distance swimmers are different than the rest of the pack.
I think these guys want to swim well, especially Michael McBroom and Connor Yeager, because they'll be going up against Ryan Cochran, who they will see at the Pan Pacs, depending on whether they, Connor and Michael make the team or not. So this will be a good rehearsal for them. They, obviously they know Ryan, they swim against him before, but, just to kind of feel everybody out, see what kind of racing strategy they may be working on. So I think it's going to be very critical to not just say, oh, I'll just get through this race. Let's try to work on something to see how I stack up against these other two guys, and it's going to make for a good preview of what we might see in Australia.
Yeah, so many different strategies at this point in the season. Well, let's talk about some event highlights. The 100 freestyle to me is going to be very exciting because it's so stacked that in order to get in the top 8 is going to be a dogfight. On the ladies' side, we have Missy Franklin. She's going to be going head-to-head with Natalie Coughlin, Simone Manuel, Allison Schmitt, Megan Romano. On the men's side, of course, we have Nathan Adrian, Yannick Agnel, Irvin, Dwyer, Grievers. Don't forget Michael Phelps. So in the past, we've been seeing Natalie Coughlin and Nathan Adrian getting the top at the 50. Who are the favorites for the 100?
Well, Nathan's the favorite in the 100 on the men's side. He just went 48.08 in Barcelona last week. So
Clear favorite.
Clear favorite. I mean, he might be coming back and feeling a little bit jet lagged, but I think even just a little bit of jet lag isn't going to be too much of a handicap for him. On the women's side, it's still up in the air. It's just we haven't seen Missy do a long course 100 free at this level of a meet yet since she moved to Cal. So I'm anxious to see what she can do. Natalie's was kind of not that impressive in Europe at the Mare Nostrum meet, so I'm looking to see what she could do. Simone Manuel obviously continues to get better and better and better. Allison Schmitt back on her game. Megan Romano always can't be counted out. So I can't really pick a favorite but on the women's side, but I think it's going to be great because we're going to really, again, see a rehearsal of what we might get at Nationals.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough heat, so it'll be great just to see who makes it into that top 8.
Yeah.
All right, well, I just mentioned Michael Phelps, so let's go ahead and talk about him. He's got quite the lineup this weekend, the 200 IM, 200 free, 100 free, 100 fly. Now, whether he swims all those 4 events is yet to be known,
right.
But he's entered in the 200 fly, and this is the first time since London that we could potentially see him here. What do you think about him potentially adding the 2 IM to his lineup?
I think maybe he's thinking Ryan Lochte's not going to be swimming it this summer, so that takes one rival out of the equation. And, this will be just a test for him. This will be his first 200 IM since London. So I think it'll just be a test for him. I think he goes under 2 minutes. I think that's a good sign for him. And, I think the United States would love to have somebody like Michael Phelps in that 200 IM if Ryan is not going to be swimming. Because I think everybody behind Ryan Lochte, if there wasn't a Michael Phelps, is still a little bit behind. Connor Dwyer, Chase Kalish, Tyler Clary, those guys are still right there, but I don't think they've made that next leap to be where Ryan and Michael are at this point.
Yeah, at least competitive on the international
Right.
scene. So I think it's going to be fun for him. I think it will be a good mental break because it's different. But at the same time, let's see if he can handle the 200 distance.
Right, probably a little bit of pressure. Everybody knows he knows everybody's going to be watching him to see how he handles all 4 strokes now because we've only seen him in fly and free.
Yeah. All right, well, fellow North Baltimore swimmer Allison Schmitt, she's really coming back into her own. She's obviously got the full freestyle lineup this weekend. No Katie Ledecky, so we know she would have been the favorite in a lot of those events. But is Allison back to being one of your favorites? We've talked about how she fell off a little bit after 2012. She's coming back strong. Is she where she needs to be heading into nationals in order to be dominant again in those freestyle events like she was in London?
Well, this will be a good week to test it out because this will be the first time she races Missy in the 200 free. Allison won at the Olympics in the 200 free. Missy was 4th, but in 2013, Missy took a good leap forward and won the world title in the 200 free without Allison there. So the 200 free, those two are I think right now neck and neck in 2014, and I think this is going to be a good test for them to see exactly where they are compared to each other. In terms of nationals, I don't think either of them are going to be fully rested. I think they realize they don't have to be in order to make the team. So the first time we're really going to see how great Missy and Allison are at their best, and the 200 free won't be until Australia. But I think we're still going to see a great battle between those two, and it's setting up for what we're getting ready for in 2016.
And wouldn't it be great to see if Katie could rival them in that 200?
She can.
And it's just, will she do it? Because she obviously has a very deep distance schedule, and she keeps getting shorter and shorter, and proving I can hang even at the shorter distances. So that's going to be a tough top three.
Well, the good thing is, unlike last year at the World Championships, there's no 1,500 at the Pan Pacs for women. So that's one event off Katie's schedule, one less thing to worry about. So I think she will, if she makes top 2 in that 200 free, she'll definitely swim it. She scratched it last year and just did the relay. So I think she wants to be in that 200 free, not just for relay purposes, but to swim the actual 200 free.
Oh, I agree. Well, I love watching college swimmers take on long course after completing a strenuous short course season. Couple that are going to be there, Stanford's Maya Dorado and Felicia Lee. They're going to be extremely competitive in their respective events, the IM and the 100 butterfly for Felicia. We also are going to see some Cal swimmers in attendance, Elizabeth Beisel. Then on the guy side, we have Chase Kalish, Ryan Murphy, Kevin Cordes, all those guys that had a strong season. So some of these athletes are done with their college season, some are just starting. How difficult is it to transition from that college season now into a year that they're trying to make World Championship teams?
Well, I think the ones that are post-grads, like Felicia Lee, Maya Dorado, Elizabeth Beitzel, they're excited about it because now all they have to think about is long course training from now until they're done with their careers. For people like Ryan Murphy, Kevin Cordes, who still have more college swimming, it's a little bit different. They only have 3-4 months of long course training, and then they have to go back to short course. So right now it's hard to kind of get off that focus. And especially someone who, like Kevin, who has a lot of responsibility on his shoulders right now as the top breaststroker in the United States. He's going to be looked at to be the top international swimmer for the breaststrokes because it's been very weak since London. And I think it's going to be very hard for him. People like Ryan Murphy, who had an outstanding NCAA championships, I think this is going to be kind of really where he has to break out because, the NCAAs is great, but
they want to know how you stack up in the big pool.
Right, because he's got Matt Grievers in the 100, Tyler Clary in the 200, so it's not just going to be as easy for him in long course as it was in short course.
All right, well, there's a lot to look forward to this weekend. Jeff, as always, I like to wrap up with what you're looking forward to most, whether it's a swimmer or an event. What's it going to be at Santa Clara?
I'm looking forward to Michael swimming the 200 IM. I really, really hope he swims it. It's a good test, and like I said, if Ryan Lochte is not going to do the 200 IM, the United States needs someone who is tested in that international level and can keep the United States still strong in that event.
Well, I'm looking forward to the recap because I want to see where all these swimmers are at a month and a half out of nationals. Make sure to keep up with the Santa Clara Grand Prix by following us on swimmingworld.com and Twitter at swimmingworld. We'll have interviews from the pool deck, meet results, commentaries, and much more. I'm Tiffany Elias for Jeff Commings. Join us again next week for our Arena Race Day recap.